Hi everyone, Raj here from Ask Car Expert YouTube channel. I'm not sure if this is going to roll into an existing video or if I'm going to do this separate, but we're going to continue on removing the cylinder head on this M54. We have to take the valve cover off next. I already have the intake off, and if you hear scratching and chicken noises in the background, it's because they're in the garage with me behind me. So I'm going to take all the coils out. So it's just taking all these 10s out, and you have the grounds over here, and then you have 8mm screws down here. It's just a matter of taking all of the 10s off for the coils, and then you have these 8mm nuts down in here, and you have one back here too. We're going to take all that off. We're going to free up the harness. Then you have your O2 sensor wiring here. We're just going to pop this off. It's always a good idea to mark these so you can't interchange these. I'm pretty sure you can actually swap these connectors on some newer BMWs. You cannot swap them. They are keyed correctly, but I think on the M54 they're not. So we're going to just want to mark that this goes to our pre-cat O2 sensor so that when we go back together it's just a little bit easier. Now this bottom harness is literally just clipped into place. So it just has some plastic tabs that hold it. So usually with just a bit of a tug or with a pick, you can hit the tabs and just kind of push them back to help you pop that out. And then you can move that completely out of your way. Here's my O2 sensor, here's my activation line for my non-return valve. Take that completely out. Put that aside. Alright, so very simple. Bank 1, B1 pre-cat O2, and bank 2 pre-cat O2, right? Which are pre's are in the front. We have bank 1, which is 1, 2, and 3, and bank 2, which is 4, 5, and 6 on an M54. And just going to move this out of the way, down here. Now down here, these are the O2 sensor holders. You can actually squeeze these and they pop right out. So we're going to just take those out of the way, like so. You can see there's a little square notch in the valve cover, and that's where these guys go. We're going to just put those aside. Now the valve cover on this is really easy. You just have to take all of the 10mm out. And we'll just start in the center. When you go back together, remember the center ones have the studs on them. Now it's a good idea to capture your washers because these grommets, which really should be one-time use, so we're going to put some new grommets on here. I don't want the grommets, but I do want to hold on to all these washers. When you're doing the perimeters, you can lose these very easily. You can just replace it with a different washer, but it's actually just a good idea while you're here, as you take them out, separate the washer from the grommet. The pick is a good way to grab them and then separate them. This is all my stuff relating to my valve cover. So I'm just putting it all in one bag because it's pretty self-explanatory. Alright, all of those are off, and surprisingly, or rather not surprisingly, because this engine doesn't really have a lot of miles, this valve cover is coming off like nothing. Sometimes you do have to pry in the corners to free it up if the valve cover gasket is deteriorated and hard. Sometimes it does stick and stay on, but that's how easy it is to remove the valve cover. on an M54. So valve covers out. Wow, that's clean. You can tell that this engine was well maintained up to the point where it was overheated accidentally from the coolant loss from the radiator failure, which led to the head issue. But it is really beautiful in here. It's amazing how clean this is. No gunk at all. The Vanos unit looks brand new. Pretty amazing. I'm going to give myself some more room. This is just held on by a little plastic screw over here. I'm going to just take the reservoir out. Now you're taking this out, you can actually just pull it out of the grommet because everything's attached to the pump, and just take the whole reservoir out just like that. So you can see right here is that blue plug. That is your timing plug. It is underneath your starter motor, and if you use a pick, you can hook that and pull that sucker out so we can put the timing tool in. All right, here's that piece right there, and that went right here. Here's the starter, and there's this cavity right here. That's where the timing tool will go. This is just the plug to keep dirt and debris from getting in there. All right, time to set, top dead center. I got the pin ready. I put a little bit of white lithium grease here. I got my 22mm on my central bolt so I can turn the engine over. And let me show you a couple other tips. I like to use a long zip tie so I can see when I'm approaching top dead center. So in the back cams, when this is square, this is where you would drop the timing tool on. Now there's some words here, there's an RK and there's something else. And you can see I'm actually at TDC, but this is actually the wrong position because we have to be at top 10 center on the right stroke. That would be the wrong position. You have to keep going around. All right, so we're gonna come back up and we're gonna look for the A and the E on the cams. One is for aus, which is exhaust, and one for ein for intake in German. So ein for intake, and the A is down here for aus. That's our exhaust. Now I can slide my pin in down here, rotate the engine, and wiggle that in to lock it into TDC for cylinder 1. I'll do the best I can for you to see this, but down here is where I pulled that plug out and I have my pin in place. I'm going to slide that forward all the way up so I can touch the flywheel or flexplate automatic transmission, and I'm going to rotate the engine until I can push that into place. There it is. Just heard that nice solid thud, and I'm locked at top dead center. And a way to check would be, can't rotate one way or the other, and I'm fully locked. Yep, so no rotation there. My piston here in cylinder 1's at top dead center, and back here I have the E and the A, and that's the position that I'd be setting my timing in. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please remember to like and subscribe to Ask the Car Experts YouTube channel. In a future video, I'm going to be going over the full removal of the cylinder head on a BMW M54 engine.